Good morning from Colorado Springs, home of the United States Association of Blind Athletes. We welcome you to the 11th annual USABA Breakfast with Champions presented by Anthem. In support of National Disability Employment Awareness Month, Anthem and the Anthem Foundation, along with the United States Association of Blind Athletes Breakfast with Champions, are raising awareness and funds to support the USABA's Emerging Stars Training Camp. At USABA, we strive to embody the Paralympic movement's motto of spirit in motion, and we empower our athletes in all they do. We're thrilled to have you a part of our nationwide audience. As we come to the close of National Blindness Awareness Month, I'm standing in front of the new state-of-the-art U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum. This museum is dedicated to telling the compelling stories of U.S. Olympic and Paralympic athletes. This morning, you'll hear firsthand the remarkable stories of our three of our blind and visually impaired athletes, directly from the athletes themselves. Today, you'll be the guest of bronze medalist Aliana Mason at a Paralympic goalball practice at our training site in Fort Wayne, Indiana, where our USA men's and women's goalball teams are preparing for the Tokyo Paralympic Games next summer. You'll also hear from 14-year-old Cole Carper from Little Rock, Arkansas, on the importance of physical activity in his life. And finally, you'll hear from our featured speaker for Breakfast with Champions, four-time long jump Paralympic medalist Lex Gillette. We're very thankful to the Colorado Springs community that support this event, including our gold medal sponsor, El Pomar Military Assistance, our silver medal sponsors, Colorado Springs Downtown Lions Club, Central Bank and Trust, Delta Gamma alumna of Colorado Springs, as well as our bronze medal sponsor, USI Insurance Services. With the Paralympics being parallel to the Olympics and the Olympic motto of Citius, Altius, Fortius, or faster, higher, stronger, we wanted to show you the spirit of those movements that lives within each of these three athletes. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy this virtual Breakfast with Champions. And now on to the remarkable stories of our athletes as I turn it over to Kevin Broussard at the U.S. Paralympic Training Site in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Thanks, Molly. I'm Kevin Broussard, Programs and Finance Director at USABA, and I'm here in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the Goalball Center of Excellence. This is one of 11 Olympic and Paralympic training sites in the United States, and we're honored to have our resident goalball program housed here, thanks to our great partners at Turnstone Center. And I'm honored today to be with one of our resident athletes, Aliana Mason. Aliana and her teammates in 299 days will be stepping on the court at the Tokyo Paralympics with one singular goal: to win a gold medal.
Hi Kevin, thank you and the rest of the United States Association of Blind Athletes for having me here today. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and I've been living in Fort Wayne, Indiana since 2017, training hard for the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. I went to the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games with the team where we brought home a bronze medal. While that was amazing, we're really working hard to shoot for a gold. We've been training tirelessly and working very, very hard for the upcoming Tokyo 2020 Games, and we're really excited to bring home that gold medal for Team USA.
And you mentioned that you are training for the Tokyo Paralympics. In March of 2020, they announced an unprecedented postponement of the Games, delaying the Games for 1 year. You guys will be on the court August 25th, 2021. Can you talk about the impact of that postponement for your team and you personally?
Yeah, that impact, it was devastating. It was very hard. With something like the Paralympic Games, it's scripted for you. The minute Rio ended, we knew when Tokyo was going to be and what we needed to do to prepare. Everything we do on and off the court is to prepare for that specific time frame. And having it be postponed when we were less than 200 days away was a huge upset. Not only physically, but it was also emotionally and mentally a big switch, and we had to really switch our mind frame and our mindset and reset essentially. So we had to take time as a team to mourn that loss. the day it was announced that it was postponed a year, we went from less than 200 days away to 512 days away from the games. That's a huge change. So we really had to take time as a team to do what individually what we needed to do to reset, and as a team. And now that we are less than 1 year away, everybody is ready to go. We are training harder than ever. We're all out here coming together and working together, and we're going to be stronger and better than we ever have been, using this extra time given to us to prepare for the games.
And we're here at the resident program, which is a relatively new program for the U.S. The men's program started here in Fort Wayne in 2015, and the women's program started in 2017. Can you talk about what your day-to-day training is like here and the importance of having this resident program?
Yeah, so I want to start off with the importance of the resident program. As you can see, goalball is very unique. We can't just go to a soccer field or go to a basketball gym and play our sport. It has a lot of setup going into it, to lay down a court, to have a net, to have a full team to scrimmage against each other, to have the equipment. On top of that, we have Paralympic goals here, and we have TerraFlex, which is the Paralympic floor. We have access to a goalball gym 7 days a week. That is amazing and something you can't get anywhere else in this country. This program has allowed us as athletes to rise above and beyond and work our absolute hardest to prepare for the games. Because we can't see in this game, it's really essential that you are able to communicate with your fellow teammates. We are constantly moving around, doing handoffs, shifting together. We need to trust each other on the court, and you can't build that in a weekend training camp. You need that day-to-day interaction on the court together to become the best you can be. So without this training center, we wouldn't be able to push ourselves and rise above and be the best team possible. So I am so grateful for this opportunity. I've utilized it for the past 3 years and love it. On top of the goalball that we do here 4 to 5 days a week, we have strength and conditioning with a wonderful strength coach. And we are in the weight room doing a variety of lifts. We do very big strength lifts such as squats, deadlifts, bench press. We do Tabata training, we do circuit training, we do battle ropes, sled pushes, tire flips. If you can think of it, we do it. We do flexibility, we have done yoga. So we try to train all parts of our body, because goalball isn't just strength, it's cardio, it's balance, it's flexibility, it's power. And we work to be the best at all of those out here at the resident program.
And beyond just training, our athletes are also staying very busy off the court. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing outside of playing goalball?
Yeah, so I'm in grad school right now working towards a master's in clinical mental health counseling. It's always been a passion of mine to work with people, help them, and make a positive, powerful impact in the life of others. I am over halfway done with my program and currently doing my internship, earning my hours of field work. So outside of goalball, I'm very busy with classes and my internship and working towards that graduate degree.
Awesome. Well, it's great to see that you and the rest of the athletes here are pursuing excellence both on and off the court. And can you talk about your eye condition and how you got involved with USABA and the impact that blind sports has had on your life?
Yeah, so I was born with my eye condition. I have glaucoma and cataracts and microphthalmia, which means my eyes didn't fully finish developing. I don't have any vision in my left eye, and in my right eye, my acuity is 2300. To understand acuity a little bit better, 2300 means what you can see at 300 feet away, I can only see at 20. So essentially, it's not great. On top of that, I don't have peripheral, meaning if I'm looking straight at you to see Kevin, I have to turn my head this much, and then back this much to see straight in front of me. So I can't see anything to my sides. I grew up in a very athletic family in the middle of 2 brothers and tried every sport I could think of: cheerleading, track, soccer. Loved soccer, but I couldn't see the ball well enough to keep up with the team and ended up getting extremely frustrated. I discovered goalball when I was 14 years old, when 2 Paralympic athletes at the time moved to Portland, Oregon. They introduced me to the sport and to the game, and I immediately fell in love with it. I wasn't that in love with the idea of throwing my body on the ground at first to get hit by a 3-pound ball, coming from a background with gymnastics and cheerleading, but I loved that everyone was on an equal playing field. And I continued to practice and play, and it wasn't until I went to my first tournament, my youth nationals in Florida, and I got to compete and meet other athletes with my same disability, that I fell in love with the sport completely. It is extremely empowering to have something where you're not having to overcome challenges or barriers or try to keep up with everyone else, but you can be an athlete first, and that's what I loved about it. It didn't matter what my eye condition was or what my visual limitations were. I could just play goalball and push myself to excel to excellence as an athlete and no other challenges or limitations. From the 2 Paralympic athletes I met, and after going to youth nationals, I was asked to start playing goalball on the adult level. I started partaking in USABA sanctioned tournaments all throughout the country, in Utah, Michigan, New Jersey, and I met a lot of different athletes there who were role models to me, who had been through college, who had had children, who had had jobs. So goalball to me, it wasn't just the sport, it was the community and having positive role models and influences and showing me things I was capable of. USABA provided me with the opportunity to meet all these other athletes and role models, and seeing them and their confidence really helped me grow in my confidence, my self-esteem, and taught me that I'm capable of accomplishing anything that I want to.
Thanks, Eliana, for your time and sharing your story, and hopefully in 2021 you can upgrade your 2016 bronze medal to a gold medal, and we'll be cheering you on, and best of luck in your training. Beyond getting athletes ready for the Paralympic Games, USABA also focuses on empowering every American who is blind and visually impaired to get involved with sports and recreation. And one of the key things that we do is involving youth. It's shown that kids who are involved in sports have much greater self-confidence because of the teamwork and socialization factors that sports has. One of the great examples of that is 14-year-old Cole Carper from Little Rock, Arkansas. Cole, take it away.
Hi Kevin, thanks for sending it over to Little Rock. It's Kat here, USABA's Membership and Safe Sport Coordinator and 2012 Paralympian. I'm hanging out in Little Rock with 2 of my favorite USABA athletes, Cole and Caroline Carper. So if you'll give us a sec, we would love to chat with you guys. Hey Cole, come here for a sec.
Hey Kevin, give me a sec to get cleaned up.
So, me and my sister have a condition called LCA, which is Leber's congenital amaurosis. It's where we're missing a gene in our eye and we can't see as well as a normal person. Growing up was kind of tough. I was pretty much an all Braille student until about 2nd grade, when I had an eye surgery that sort of replaced the gene in my eye. I don't really understand it, but now I'm primarily print. I do sometimes use Braille just to keep up my Braille skills, and I remember right after the surgery that winter, I went outside one day and it was snowing, and I remember thinking, wow, I can see the snow falling instead of just the snow that was already on the ground, and that was a really cool moment. So I've attended the ski camps in Breckenridge, Colorado. I learned a lot about how to ski. I had been skiing before then, like once, but they really taught me like what to do and like how to go faster and not fall and die. Yeah, we met a lot of people, and it was a lot of fun. Like, we met a lot of different blind and visually impaired people who already did know how to ski and wanted help getting better, or some people that were new to skiing that just wanted to learn, and that was really cool to meet different blind and visually impaired people, even though they lived kind of far away from us.
I think it's the one thing that has made a difference in my kids' lives. And I wouldn't say the one thing, but it's been very powerful to see Cole ski at those camps, and to the confidence that it has given him to ski a black. So we snow ski, but we have never been able to take him out and give him guide him like you guys have done and the volunteers have done there. We don't have that. So there's no way that he could ski black slopes without USABA. And so the power that that has given him and the confidence that that's given him to come back to school and to have confidence when, you know, maybe his peers have made fun of him or don't understand his vision, for him to come back and say, you know, I skied a black, I just came back and I skied a black slope, you know, that is powerful for my kids and for us. And so And we want other people to have those experiences because it really propels them to a different level like nothing else that we have seen for our kids. It's a game changer. So there's no doubt that the money is well used. It is, the organization is run extremely well, and it is all about the athletes. You know, we have never felt like it's anything that the programs or any of the benefits, it all is for the athletes. You know, whatever their vision is or whatever their sport is. And I can't wait for them to maybe compete in some other things that the USABA has, some of their swimming events, some of your swimming events, triathlons and some things like that. So it's just made a huge difference in their life. And I can't imagine another organization that we would support, whether financially or time or whatever it is. It's a game changer for our family.
I've just started like a month ago, but I've started doing the general fitness team at my school, which is where we have to get up super early and we go work out. And my arms and legs and entire body are dead after that. But I have fun and I'm getting stronger, so that's okay. And then I go biking whenever I have time. I live in a pretty hilly neighborhood, I like hilly neighborhoods because you get to go down hills fast, even though you got to go up them. And then I swim for a team. I swim competitively and go to practice like every day. And then we also have a basketball hoop, and so sometimes I'll just randomly go out and shoot a few hoops if I have a few minutes. Sports mean a lot to me. I've been a pretty active person like all my life pretty much. I play a lot of different and diverse sports that don't really involve balls. I enjoy going fast, so that's why I like biking and skiing and stuff. But sports mean a lot to me because I like to stay active. USABA has helped with that because they've given me the confidence to do sports that I probably couldn't have done before. And it's just really cool of them to help me with that. And I like sports just because I'm not a couch potato. Now I'm super excited to introduce you all to the super special featured speaker, 4-time Paralympic medalist in the long jump, Lex Gillette.
Thank you, Cole. I really appreciate that introduction, and I want to welcome each and every single one of you to this year's Breakfast with Champions event. We are on the cusp of the longer road to Tokyo, and I'm really excited. Been competing for Team USA for a bit now. Tokyo will be my 5th Paralympic Games. That's an accomplishment that I'm pretty proud of. And where we are right now is the Chula Vista Elite Athlete Training Center, formerly the Olympic Training Center, and this is where I spend the majority of my time training, preparing for local competitions, domestic competitions, and preparing for those international ones, especially big ones like the Paralympic Games. But my story began in Raleigh, North Carolina. As a kid in Raleigh, I was doing it all from playing video games, riding bicycles, playing outside with friends. One particular day, I had come home from school, went through my normal routine. That night, as I was inside of the bathroom, I started noticing that my sight was blurred. I was seeing images, but they were faint. I didn't really know what was going on. I told my mom, and she had thought maybe I had gotten something in my eyes from playing outside earlier that day. We took some water and cleaned my eyes out. It made it feel better, but it didn't clear my sight any. That led to us going to the doctors, and after an examination, they discovered that I was suffering from retina detachments. I had to have one emergency operation to get that fixed. Seemed like it was successful. I could see well for about 3 to 4 weeks, and after that time, my sight began to get blurry again. A second examination revealed that I needed to have another operation to fix retina detachments. Got that operation done. I could see well for another 3 to 4 weeks. Same problem happened after that time, and my sight began to get even more blurry. than what it was the time before. That led to a third operation. That was the pattern for the entire time that I was 8 years old. That year I had 10 operations, and after the last one, doctors said that there was nothing else they could do to help my sight, and they said that I would eventually become blind. From that point, it was go home, go through your normal routine, go to sleep at night, wake up the next morning. And each day you see a little less than what you do the previous 24 hours, until one day I woke up and I couldn't make out much of anything. As you can imagine, 8 years old, it's tough. There's so many different things that go through your mind, so many thoughts and ideas, and you're afraid, you may feel a little lonely and isolated, and now you're being thrust into this new world where not too many people understand you. Fortunately, my mom, she was a really huge influence in my life, and to this day, she still motivates me and inspires me. And she said that, you know what, you're still going to be able to do amazing things in the world. You just may not be able to see those things with your eyes. I latched on to that. And even though it was challenging and there were days where I wasn't motivated and I struggled, I was able to lean on my mom. I was able to lean on my visually impaired teachers. I was able to lean on my orientation and mobility specialists and my eventual coaches in sport. And they helped me to shift my mindset and to help me to see what was possible, to see the potential that was inside of me. One thing led to another. What did I do? I learned how to read Braille. I learned how to use a cane, but everything really turned well, let me not say that. Everything really transitioned in a nice way for me when I was in high school, and I learned about track and field, specifically the long jump. And there was a fitness test that I had to participate in, one where I had to do a number of activities, and one was standing long jump. Stand in one spot and you jump forward as far as you can. I was really good at standing long jump, to the point where my coach at the time, Brian Whitmer, he told me about the Paralympics and being able to travel the world and represent Team USA and win medals and break records. And I mean, who doesn't want to do those things? He took me out to the track one day. He showed me everything about the long jump pit, how wide the long jump pit is, how long the long jump pit is, even the runway itself, the stretch of track that you need to run on to even get to that point of jumping, how wide the runway is, how long the runway is, where the takeoff board is positioned in the ground, and what I need to do in order to run and hit that board at the right spot to jump forward. Now, in order for me to do so, he would stand at the takeoff board, and he would give me those audible cues to let me know which direction I would run. In the beginning, he would just clap, straight, 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 and yell as well. So that would give me the ability to hear where he is and know which direction to run. And from there, it was me remembering how many steps I would need to take, and at the appropriate step, as I'm running, I'm counting in my head, then I jump and pray to God I'm gonna land in the sand pit. It was tough in the beginning, as you can imagine, but I had Mr. Whitmer there, Coach Whitmer there, and he encouraged me and he provided that positive reinforcement, and he was that pillar that helped me to see that, you know what, you can do this. And when you talk about trust, it was certainly one of those things where I had a difficult time trusting him, but I think a lot of times we find ourselves in situations and circumstances where sometimes we just don't trust ourselves. And that's what I was feeling at that time. But I think that when we face these challenging circumstances, we have to think about a couple things. If you don't trust yourself, if you don't give yourself a shot to step out there, to really give yourself a chance, what sort of success are you just totally throwing away? What sort of potential opportunities and possibilities are you ridding from your life by not giving it a shot? When we find ourselves in these circumstances and these overwhelming events, you have to ask yourself, what opportunities and what potential success that lies within me, what am I just totally throwing away by not giving myself a chance, not giving myself a shot? And I didn't want to continue moving down the road 5, 10, 15 years down the line and look back on this situation and say, I wonder if I would have been able to go to the Paralympic Games. I wonder if I would have been able to travel the world. Would I have been able to win medals? Would I have been able to break records? And that was something that I had to give myself a shot just to see if it was possible. Even though it was difficult in the beginning of this process to force myself to run as fast as I could at the sound of someone else's voice and claps, that was tough. But I was able to lean on Coach Whitmer, and he believed in me so much, and he painted this vision of what was possible. He believed in me so much that I began to believe in myself. Once I was able to envision that and see it for myself, game over, game over. And from there, it has been many travels around the world. It's been many medals and many records broken, being on some awesome teams with incredible athletes, learning from other athletes from around the globe and experiencing different cultures, and walking inside of opening ceremonies, standing on podiums and having the flag raised high in the air. All of these experiences have been things that I would have never, ever imagined, but it's because of people who saw something within me, people who believed in me, and people who wanted me to experience a better life. I want to talk about this one story, however, before we kind of transition to the next piece. And in 2015, I was at our World Championships in Doha, Qatar. I'm on my 4th attempt in the long jump. At this point, my guide, his name is Wesley Williams, and we've been working together for the past 13 years, a really great friend. He's basically a brother to me. On this particular jump in World Championships, he's calling and clapping his hands. Fly, 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 fly. And I take off in his direction, boom, 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 running as fast as I can. I jump, and at a certain point within that jump, I asked myself, you know what, you can either abort mission right now or you can land this jump. And the reason that I had thought that to myself is because when I had taken off, when I had left the ground, I felt my body shift to the right a bit. We're at World Championships. I'm like, man, we're going home. We're going hard or going home, right? I land the jump, but instead of landing inside of the sand pit, I landed on the outside of the sand pit. It definitely hurt. I think more than anything, it was embarrassing. I was ashamed because that hadn't happened to me before. I've been on the sidelines when it's happened to other athletes, but that hasn't happened to me. I went to the medical tent, got cleaned up. They were able to bandage my elbow. I had a pretty good gash on my elbow. I actually had to get a new pair of tights because they were ripped in the back a little bit. I was mooning the crowd, so I had to make sure I get me some new tights. And I was able to return to the competition. I think that experience is the same impact, a similar type of impact that we've all felt in 2020. When the pandemic came down the pipeline, we all had to adjust. We had to adapt. Essentially our lives were halted. We're all having to work from home. Our kids are at home. They're now learning from virtual platforms. Fortunately, some people have been able to keep their jobs. Some people have unfortunately lost their jobs. We've all experienced this pandemic differently. Even from my perspective, in the beginning months, I couldn't train with my guide. Wesley and I, we're literally together all of the time. But due to social distancing and the shelter-in-place orders for maybe about 3 to 4 months, I couldn't train with Wesley, excuse me. I had to figure out a way to get it done. There's only so many laps that you can run around the perimeter of your living room, and I had to do those abs. I had to do those high knees in my room and the butt kicks and all of those things. But when you think about that World Championships, when I landed on the side of the pit, what really got me through that situation and what will get us through any type of situation is that power of authentic connection. I train with my guy Wesley on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday. We're on this track, we're training together. And after that jump where I landed on the side, I wanted to let him know that, listen, at the end of the day, I understand that every time that I step on this runway, there's the possibility that something like that may happen. And I wanted to reassure him that, you know, just because I landed on the side, that doesn't waver the trust that I have for you. Think about it from a baseball player standpoint. You have a baseball player who bats 999 out of 1,000. They're going to take that every single day. Someone who is in the NBA, if they shoot 99% from the free throw line, they're going to take that every single day. That was one jump that I had landed outside of the pit out of 13 years. I think that anybody would take those odds. So I wanted to let him know that, listen, this is okay. Let's regroup. It's kind of echoey inside of the stadium. It's really challenging me to know exactly where you are, where you're standing. Let's make the adjustment and let's get out here and make it happen. I have one more jump remaining. Wesley sets me up on the runway. He jogs to the opposite end. He claps and yells, fly, 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 fly. I take off, boom, 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 fast as I can to the sound of his voice. And when I jump, I land inside of the pit, thankfully. Heard thousands of those cheers throughout the stadium. And after the officials measured that jump, it was 6.38 meters, which is around 20 feet, 11 inches. And that was my best jump of the competition. And I was able to win the gold and come home with the world champion title. But I point that out because right now we are, we're X number of months in, but you see that the power of connection is what helps us get through everything. To have that 1, 2, 3, 4 people who genuinely care about you and who want to see you succeed. When you have that type of connection with someone, they help you to forget about your shortcomings or what you may have believed to be your shortcomings. They make you forget about the things that you may have previously thought impossible. Right now we are, some events are live, some events, a lot of them are virtual. You're seeing that power of connection, and that's what helps us get through every single moment when things are going well. And it also helps us get through challenging times like the one that we're living in right now. So please, please, please stay connected. I want to also mention the fact that growing up, a part of my success revolved around USABA. I went to a sports education camp in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I learned about all of the different Paralympic sports. And that is where I was able to get connected with other blind and visually impaired athletes, other coaches, so many different people who operated in the Paralympic space. And I learned so much. I went to a number of national championships hosted by USABA. Some of my most fond memories where being on that runway and having people lined up on the left and right hand side of that long jump pit, and I'm 17 years old jumping, and these people are so excited, like, oh man, this is like, he's the future. He's the future. That's really, really energizing feeling to think back to those moments. So many people from the organization who have been a part of my Paralympic career, definitely appreciative of that. I want to personally thank every single person who has registered to this point, and if you donated in that registration process, thank you. Thank you so much. And for those who have not donated, I want to encourage you to do so. Cole, who introduced me, he's the future. He represents that next generation of athletes who's coming up. I have a slogan that says, no need for sight when you have a vision. To me, that says that it's not sight that determines our success. It's having a vision and being able to see things before they exist, to see beyond the horizon, to not only see those things, but to then develop a plan to bring that vision into fruition. I'm an athlete who I don't have any sight, but I got a ton of vision. I have a ton of vision. And the beauty of vision is that it can't be achieved alone. You need other people. You need people to help you to climb to new heights. If it is a true vision, it's something that's supposed to change the landscape of our communities, our cultures, our countries, and this world that we live in. You make up a part of that vision. And we want to make sure that all of our athletes, all of our members are covered, and we want to make sure that they have that fuel to be able to elevate to new heights. So it's not about that sight, it's about that vision. And that vision is for all blind and visually impaired athletes to have access to sport and the resources that they need to be the absolute best. Thank you for spending your morning with me and listening to my message. And now I'm going to throw it back to USABA's CEO, Molly Quinn, who is at the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Wow, thank you, Lex, for sharing such an impactful message with us this morning. And thank you, Cole, for showing us the importance of being physically active and how participating in a wide array of sports can be so beneficial. And how powerful was it to hear from Aliana speak about the preparation for the Paralympic Games in Tokyo next summer. A first-hand look at the largely unseen preparation that goes on every day for these remarkable athletes. It truly is not every 4 years, but every day. Speaking of goalball, the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Museum behind me features an interactive goalball exhibit, a must-see for anyone visiting the great city of Colorado Springs. As Lex Gillette emphasized, donations to USABA are vital in fueling our programs and the dreams of future Paralympians, as well as empowering blind and visually impaired Americans to experience life-changing opportunities through sport. Donations to USABA are tax deductible. Please consider making a donation this morning. We're so glad you've spent the morning with us, learning more about the United States Association of Blind Athletes. And we hope you've had a chance to see how USABA helps give our athletes the opportunity to live the Olympic motto of faster, higher, and stronger, and how each of today's featured athletes embody the Paralympic motto of spirit and motion. Thank you.
Citius.
Altius.
Fortius.